ex texted you, I run the world at 1 a.m. You'd call a therapist, not give them nuclear codes, right? But America, we just handed the steering wheel back to a guy who thinks reality is optional and loyalty is mandatory. This week, Trump accidentally and called a journalist instead of an aide, and instead of hanging up, he went full Bond villain in sweatpants. He told that half-asleep reporter on the other line, I run the country and the world, not I serve the people. Not I was elected. Nope. He literally said, when people talk about America, they're really just talking about me. So yeah, in his mind, he's not the president. He's the whole damn country. Congratulations. Your citizenship now includes a mandatory subscription to Trump's ego. No refunds. And if you think that was a fluke, nah. The man has been live tweeting his own psychological collapse. April 26. Negative criminals must be rooted out. What the hell is a negative criminal? People who make him feel bad? Sarcastic baristas? We don't know. He won't say, but he will threaten them. April 27th. Enemies of the people will pay a heavy price. That's not politics. That's a dictator doing cosplay with real weapons. Let's be real. If your grandpa said half this shit at Thanksgiving, you'd take away his Facebook and hide the knives. Period. But this guy, he's got the launch codes, a cult following, and absolutely zero adult supervision. He's not unraveling democracy. He's drop-kicking it off a cliff while screaming, MAGA strong. This isn't partisan. This is psychiatric. The man is showing textbook narcissism, paranoid delusions, and enough antisocial traits to qualify as a damn warning label. So yeah, if you're feeling a little freaked out, good, you're paying attention. And if you want more chaos-infused clarity, existential resilience, and pastel-colored rebellion against the bullshit, you know where to find us. www.thecultofbrighterdays.org. We're not here to calm you down. We're here to make sure your rage has somewhere to go. While you're here, check out our other shorts, or even click that like button. Not to pressure you, but the algorithm decides what happens next. Our fate.
All right, we faded out of our video. We're here with a chat rate of 2 because Richard keeps texting. Anyway, thank goodness we have motivation and movement on our thing. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to the Cult of Brighter Days Good News, our weekly show where we talk about, well, usually we have a topic. This time we're having a topic about multiple topics. And I'd like to say thanks to Dr. Jess, Step Pope Richard, and Bishop Sara for joining us today. So we have a chunk of the council here, Dr. T and Undecided Robert's not here yet. Maybe they'll join us, I'm not sure. We also have the AIs available in chat. And I guess the topic today we were going to talk about was just the general dumpster fire of 2025, which sort of includes all of the news that's out there.
And just this week too, right? Like this week was a fucking shit show. Like I don't even know what else to call it.
Well, the sheer amount of executive orders and yeah.
Thanks for dropping that bomb 11 seconds into the video.
Oh, yeah,
so
my bad.
yeah. Now we're not going to get.
We're not allowed to swear until after what, 18 minutes?
Yeah. No, actually, I don't know.
I did that already to us once this week.
Now
I mean, it's just this week.
We are okay because that's why we put that video at the front and everything like that. That way we have a thing to show people what we're talking about. Yeah, it's a buffer for that too, because it is a fucking nightmare out there and everything. And honestly, I feel like it's 2026 already. It's
28.
100 days has, I feel like 2 years of scandals have been compressed into 100 days. If not 4 years. Yeah. Did you see the newest thing that they're now making a Trump golf resort in Qatar for $5.5 billion?
I had not seen that. Thank you for sharing.
I had not seen that.
I told you I stayed up to date on
emoluments.
That's not it. It's his son who did it, so it's okay. I mean, Billy's
name's not Hunter, so we're good.
Yeah, pretty much.
It wasn't no, yeah.
I did see a video. I saw a YouTube video that said why we should all push through this, stay as positive as possible, and keep focused and give us a little bit of hope and light to look forward to. It was a YouTube video.
Nope.
Trump's gonna die. And you don't want to miss that when it happens.
Yeah, but you never know how soon that's going to be. Modern medicine is...
Well, that's why you have to strive and fight this stuff to stay around so you can watch this. Yeah, well, don't worry. That's going to change real soon. So go watch that video I did about mozzarella cheese and look at how it's made, and then consider those safety standards are going to go away.
Yeah.
I'm thinking water would be the only thing to drink, but even with the anti-fluoride push, I'm not even sure that's going to be...
Well,
right.
To be fair, anti-fluoride, the fluoridation of water isn't about water quality or safety. It's about tooth decay. So
Right. That's why we make sure we take it out of all the water that we're drinking and the purified stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna keep in the lead. We're gonna keep in the lead because they're not going to do anything about the pipes in Flint. So we'll make sure we take out the Florida, but keep in the lead.
Florida?
Florida,
take out the Florida?
I would love to take out the Florida. I would love to just take out the Florida. And
if we're infused with lead, then that'll protect us from the nuclear waste. So
there we go.
I remember when I was a kid. I remember when our miniatures were made for our role-playing games. The miniatures back then, they were lead miniatures. I remember that. It was a big deal. You could cast your own. My dad had a print shop, so all the type that you used in the printing presses was lead. So you could cast your own miniature figures with lead. I remember we used to weigh down our Pinewood Derby cars with lead. You drill holes in them and then you pour lead in them to get the right weight on them and everything. It wasn't in the rules. You'd watch all the other kids would have like bolts and washers and everything screwed onto their Pinewood Derby cars. Yeah, my Pinewood Derby car was super smooth and didn't have any of that stuff because we had drilled holes all the way through and poured lead into it to balance it and everything. Go figure.
Yeah. I remember thinking quicksand was going to be a lot more of a problem than it is. So,
That and killer bees. Killer bees.
Oh, the killer bees.
Oh, man, that. And I lived in South Dakota at the time, and it was right in the summer, and I was at my grandparents' house, and they had bees all over the place. And it was that year The Swarm came out, that movie, The Swarm, with Peter O'Toole. And unfortunately, like, I was a kid, and I was young, and like scary movies like that were terrifying to me, even though I never saw them, because you'd only because you'd see the television advertisements for them, and since you weren't old enough to go see them, and my parents refused to take me to any movies like that, my imagination would have to fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
So I
laughed because I had that same experience.
Yeah, very dangerous thing.
Yeah, Jaws was terrifying, even though I wasn't near salt water at all. Quicksand was always worse.
About as far away as you can get.
I'll tell you something, and it's sad because after you grow older and you watch these shows, because now I'm old enough, I can go watch it. You watch it, you go, my God, I wish I hadn't watched this, because the movie that was in my head was so much better. It was so much better, and watching this ruined the movie that I had in my head. Perfect example of that was The Amazing Melting Man. And I think I only saw the commercial for it once, but they had an advertisement in the newspaper. Back then we had newspapers. You had to look in there to find out what movies were playing. And it was like a gory guy's face melting on the movie poster ad and everything. I'm like, oh, wow. And I saw the preview once. I'm like, all I could think of is what this movie was like and how it looked and everything and what was happening in the movie. And yeah, I saw the movie and it was, oh my God, it ruined my childhood.
Yeah.
That movie was so much better in my head.
All I can think is I've totally ruined our kids, because when they were like little, like 5 and 2. When I was playing one of those games online and the ads would pop up and you'd have like whatever movie trailer like pop up. I remember some horrible, scary show, like similar to The Ring, but it wasn't The Ring, it was later than that, like pops up and the kids are like exposed to some really scary stuff, which I immediately like shut down. And then I'm like sending these messages, and I'm one of those moms that like stop my kids from having really horrible nightmares and great imaginations at the same time.
I don't know. The kid managed to get up one morning and go out, and we had gotten the Ghostbusters remake, the female Ghostbuster, the woke Ghostbusters, which personally I thought was a good movie. So anybody who wants to make a comment about that, you don't have to bite me. That's all I got to say. I like that movie.
There was nothing wrong with it per se.
Personally, it was a reboot. I thought it was better than the first one in a lot of cases.
I really liked it.
I think the first one was overrated, and I was a huge fan of it when it came out. Now, the real Ghostbusters TV series, the cartoon series, that was amazing. But back to the main story about the kid getting up how old was the kid? Oh, bite me, Eva. It was not horrible, okay? It was good. We will have a whole episode talking about that. But anyway, I'm sorry. If they would have had Jim Belushi in Ghostbusters like it was originally supposed to have, I might have got that. But it was cheap. Okay, I'm ignoring the comment for now so I can stay on track with this conversation.
Okay. So it was released in 2016, so the kid was 7?
Yeah, okay. And the kid got up early and put it in to watch, and there was a trailer on the front of it for this movie about this girl that gets half eaten by a shark who's a surfboarder in Australia and everything. And so wound up in the kid wound up watching this trailer about this and never saw the movie. So like me, immediately filled in all the gap spots. No parent was around. We didn't find out about this for a couple of years later, but when we went to the beach, didn't go in the water, hardly anyone at all, would not tell us that it happened or anything.
This is making so much sense now.
It does, doesn't it?
Why they don't like to go to the beach?
Yeah.
Still, like, yeah.
Well, some of you being drug out into the beach at, yeah, we're not going to talk about the oldest one's incident and everything like that. And I'm going to ignore the Ghostbusters comments. I should not have ever brought that up because that's a contentious thing. That being said,
what else were we talking about today? Because we've already lost our.
No, we were focusing on trauma.
For surviving the dumpster fire.
Trauma.
And trauma by.
See, and this is an example. We had trauma as children. We had trauma like this as children. I had trauma of shark attacks and quicksand and things like that. But then when you get to older and you look at them, you realize it's not that big of a deal because it's not really that big of a thing. But when our parents were freaking out about recession and our parents were freaking about gas crisis and stuff like that, as kids, well, that wasn't that big of a deal. It didn't really matter and everything. And now it's flipped entirely. So now I'm like, the more I know about something, the worse off it is. Back then, the less I knew about something, the worse off it was.
So now the impending recession is much more scarier than the shark.
No, I'm looking forward to an impending recession. I am. I'm really looking forward to it because the other option, because there's only two options. There's impending recession or big depression. There's not anything else. The best case scenario right now is an impending recession. So I'm going to latch on to the best case scenario and hope for that. I don't think it's going to happen, but
yeah, it's
okay. Wait, so if I play devil's advocate here, right?
Go ahead, feel free. Actually, Richard's even more because he's like actually peppy. Anyway, he's
and
actually
it hurts me
delusional.
to say this out loud, but I'm going to say it. with this impending recession and everything's going to be costing so much more, like what have we actually seen change?
Well, as of 3 days ago, when the new tariff kicked in, so there was a tariff guideline that if anything would came in from China that was under $800 in purchase price and everything, it did not have to follow any of the tariff rules. Okay, that's why Temu existed with such low price margins. Okay, because they never had to pay any sort of import tax on anything because it was such a low price margin on it. That went away 3 days ago. So now when you start hearing these stories of people going on Temu and somebody found a dress that they were going to buy for their kids.
Okay, wait. So you found a dress that you were buying for your kids?
No, she found a dress.
Somebody.
Some random
person.
Well, here, let me go look at Temu right now, and let me go see if I can buy something from Temu. Or if anybody else wants to go look at.
You have to jump through to buy something from Temu, but go ahead.
I've got my Temu account. The kid made me log in so that they could get a discount. I think your kid that made me log in too so they could get a discount. Because I wouldn't buy some. Well, you could go to Alibaba. Alibaba was another place that was very, very, very big on.
Or Shein or any of them.
I used to get lots and lots of advertisements for Temu on my mobile game that's ad supported, and those are gone now. 100% gone.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did notice that in the last few days. Like all the Temu ads are done.
Yeah. So like if you go in, you purchase it, and the thing is, if you buy it, when you go in, you look at the price, because what they were saying is that when they looked at the price and everything, it was $16 and everything like that. But it looks here. It looks here if you can buy it from what they call a local warehouse item. So if I go in and I find a product and it says local warehouse item, then I don't have to pay an import tax on it. But if it's not a local warehouse item, and it looks like it automatically filters local primarily, they're really gonna hurt. Because like I said, all of their selling was pretty much geared towards their profit margins on all of those sales was like next to nothing. And so now if you have to pay twice the price for this stuff, what's Alibaba? Harbor Freight is going to get hurt and everything. Oh, Eva says, will people still be traveling to Alaska? If I open my B&B, will I get customers? Well, they're talking about making toll roads between Alaska and America in Canada. So if you were going to drive up to Alaska through Canada, they're going to put toll roads in place. I guess they're only going to be toll roads for trucking, for American shipping. So you might. And since I don't think anybody from America is going to, they will have to cross the border though. And every time you cross the border into America or out of America, even if you're a citizen now, it's scary and everything. While flying there would even be worse and everything like that. Because like how many people, I mean, like tourism's dropping off everywhere.
Right.
But I can tell you right now, I don't think anybody from another country is going to come to your Airbnb in Alaska anytime soon. Because I like that. I was not going to say no totally, but I was going to say
not foreign visitors, but like because European tourism, like Europeans coming here, is dropped off. Like it's not a thing.
It's because they're being hassled. Everybody, no matter what, British, Australian, they're hassling them at the border.
You're coming through customs, and they're going to give you. You're going to have the potential to be disappeared. Like
there was an Australian guy who had a work visa. He went back to Australia for his sister's funeral. He had a valid work visa for like months, had a job, came back from the funeral they held him in solitary for like 3 days. I mean, they detained him for 3 days without his phone, without any contact or anything like that, before they let him out and deported him. And the border agents, the ones that were doing the deportation, were just horribly awful people. I mean, like, and how they talked to him, how they treated their attitude towards this whole thing, it was just horrible and everything. And so I'm like, why would anybody come here? I mean,
I just looked up an article from Forbes from last month. It says European travel to the US plummeted 17% in March alone.
yeah. And how much of you that the 30% that was still coming in over here didn't have a choice because of work to come over here? So you're probably only,
that was March tourism. Like, we're coming in on summer. That's peak season. That's where the real hit's gonna come.
And people now have had time to really think about, do they want to come here? Why would you come here?
well,
Yeah. So where I live, summertime is very much tourist season up here in the Black Hills of Wyoming. But we don't get a lot of foreign travelers anyway, or at least where I have any connection to tourists, there tend to be Americans coming through. But to the extent that Americans are going to have to pay more for, all their Walmart stuff, that's going to cut into their
Yellowstone time is going to be greatly diminished by their Walmart time.
Yeah. Yep.
Old Faithful's going to get laid off.
My extent as a tourist is going to be greater as I try to figure out how to get a visa into Canada. And then you have to like cross the border so that you can keep it active. So I'll just be visiting so that I can keep that visa active. We'll stop by through South Dakota.
Yeah. Feel free to drop in.
Because we've been seriously looking into these work visas that you can get, but it's much easier if you just get a visit visa and you have to come back across once every 6 months, and then you no longer have to be in this country.
Yeah.
Alaska is amazing in the summer. See, there's a pitch for us to go to Alaska.
I would love to go to Alaska in the summer. Where is that person's B&B?
Yeah, Eva, where's your... It's like one of our loyal, dedicated followers. Always here every week.
Oh, is it Eva?
Yeah, it's Eva.
Yeah.
Where is her B&B? I want to know.
I don't know. She's texting. She's going to tell us where her Airbnb is going to be. I don't know. It just seems like... Yeah. There's two major things going on that have provided a great distraction to a third major thing going on. 15 minutes from the airport. I guess there's only one airport in Alaska. There might only be one airport. It is Alaska. So
isn't like one of their primary forms of transportation the little airplanes? So like, shouldn't there be an airport everywhere?
International airport, like one of the big places that people hub things. I don't think they might only really have one. I wasn't joking about that.
It's possible.
But
they've got a lot of little airfields for little puddle jumpers.
Right.
Yeah. Trust me, to get there, you'll have to take two of those. Anchorage, one airport in Anchorage. But like I said, currently, we're talking about a dumpster fire. I mean, everybody's been talking about tariffs, and I think that is probably the saving grace of everything going on in terms of derailing the administration's main push on everything, is because it's hitting everybody. And I am more afraid that if they would have waited 6 months to try to push this trade war, if they would have done other stuff for the first 6 months and then did the trade war, that we may be in a worse state in terms of having a real country that's a democracy, that's functional.
Yeah, maybe, but it's also true that the tariffs have been soaking up a lot of attention. So things like the recent executive order on law enforcement kind of went without any attention.
I feel like a
Where,
lot of the most recent executive orders haven't gotten nearly enough attention.
yeah, well, and some of that is also because there's only so much. Well, the president did something stupid and crazy again that you can do before it's like, okay, dog bites man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
between those two things, yeah, a lot of stuff is flying under the radar. But the good news, such as it is that even Republican appointed judges are saying no to a lot of
Well,
these things. So
yeah, but it doesn't matter
Okay,
until you get up to the
but
corrupt Supreme
Let's
Court.
talk about that. Let's talk about that one judge.
well, yeah, that one judge who was arrested, but I heard that she was, or he, they were
She.
released. She
Yeah.
was released this week. So, I mean,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
good.
they
She
were
was
trying to
released.
they were trying to stage the arrest inside the courtroom, and she wouldn't let them come into the courtroom and do the arrest and made them stay out in the hall. And because they were such dinks about it, she told them, go through the side door over there. And so they went through the side door, which nothing big there. Whenever there's like a crowd of press outside, they always do that with anybody. And they still caught him before he left the building.
yeah.
But
That side door connects to the same hallway that the main door does.
they were in. They weren't paying attention to the side door, and everybody knew about the side door. So you know what? That's your own fault for being idiots. Now they're going to come and disappear me too. Oh wait, we don't have enough of a subscriber base for that to happen. Thank God.
See, there's,
And by
there's an
the
upside.
and we have, when we get a subscriber base that actually could do that, you
they're
know,
not.
they're not going to watch
they're-
old shows of this. So
Well, they're not going to arrest you. They're going to deport you, right? Because Congress says it's okay.
no. See, I still have white skin, so I'm still
Well,
I'm
but
still on that
Congress
side.
said- Congress said it's okay to deport American citizens.
Yeah,
Did they?
Yes.
yeah, they did.
yesterday.
Well, no, it was the Judiciary Committee.
Okay.
It was the It was the Senate. It wasn't like a law or anything like that, but it was the Senate Judiciary Committee said they're not going to take anything to the Senate that talks about how it's not a good thing. Basically, it was funny because two of the Democrats on there were trying to get the Republicans to actually, because they attached writers to it, and we're trying to get the Republicans to actually open their mouths and debate why they supported being able to do this, and none of the Republicans said anything at all and refused to talk and just voted party line to say it's okay from the judiciary and didn't need to be reviewed. It's
Cowards.
yeah. I'll tell you what, we're gonna go into our second video that we have for the week because we're trying to promote this stuff and everything. And this one's about actually about, you know, the first one we watched was about Trump, which was a really good one. It was the first one we actually did that had a lot of it was all focused on Trump. This one's more focused on
That first one we did was because I tried to do just a breakdown of psychologically where the hell was going on this week from him, and then tried to make it something we could actually understand.
I don't know where it's going psychologically for me this week,
Yeah.
let alone him. So let's watch this one and we'll come back and talk about this one.
Hey, stop fucking scrolling. The world's on fire and you're watching videos like maybe one more 30-second clip will save your soul. Trust is dead. Facts are a fucking choose your own adventure. Politics, nothing more than emotional damage with a merch line. This is what we call skeptical hedonism. It's the overwhelming feeling that nothing fucking matters. So instead, we're gonna chill, snack, and tell the next person who looks this way to eat shit. Outrage is the new opiate. Reality's optional. And freedom now means, fuck you, don't ask me for anything. It's not a worldview. It's a collective trauma spiral with a self-care playlist. We're not apathetic. We're just fucking exhausted. And most of us are just pretending to cope with cat memes and overpriced bath bombs. But here's the catch. This survival strategy, it's slowly killing us. We're mistaking numbness for resilience, and that's how the spiral wins. Skeptical hedonism is ignoring the news because it's all bullshit. It's buying a bunch of crap to feel in control. It's mocking everything instead of facing anything. Skeptical hedonism is laughing at the end of the world and doing nothing to stop it. But here's the twist. We can still choose connection. Even when it's awkward, sweaty, and full of glittery bullshit, we're the cult of brighter days. Kindness with a side of fuck around and find out. Failure is sacred. Humor is survival. Rage is welcome. It's just much more productive to laugh. And punch up, damn it. You can learn more about The Cure at www.thecultofbrighterdays.org. Seriously, Dr. Jess wrote a whole damn article about this mess. It's sharp, it's snarky, and it might just unfuck your outlook. Go read it. But while you're here, hit that like button, or even subscribe, or don't. But remember, our fate is in your hands.
So seriously, so sticker price won't go up. Hi, we're back. We were talking about advertisement in today's world and how people are coping with this tariff thing and everything. I mean, but Trump's comment about gasoline prices being $1.88 a gallon in 2 states this week. Did you guys hear that one?
No. And
yeah.
Fake news.
No, it was from the man himself, so it had to be true.
No, nonsense.
Well, you're just suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, my friend.
He's got some kind of derangement where he thinks he's living 20, 30 years ago.
You only say that because you suffer from Trump derangement syndrome.
No, derangement syndrome is when you believe the crap he says.
I told you, Jessica, he's the one with the peppy positive outcome that actually believes it. So it's okay.
Yeah.
You can, if we ever want a devil's advocate for anything,
It kills me because, clearly he's Trump is paranoid, narcissistic. He's meeting all these antisocial traits.
Sociopathic.
Completely. And yet, here we have Trump derangement syndrome. What?
There was a state that tried to get that passed as make it a law and make it a valid mental health issue. Trump derangement. Did you see that one?
I heard that. I really don't understand how it. So all of the people who say that what's going on is crazy are the ones that are crazy.
Yeah.
That's the position.
100%.
That's because you live in an echo chamber and you don't know what's really going on out there in the real world.
And you know what? I have cultivated my echo chamber pretty well. I'm really okay with it.
I was
because I am tired of hearing the rest of the BS.
They did a study. they did a study. They did a study of how many people want manufacturing jobs to come back into this country, and it was about 80% of the population that was polled is all about bringing more manufacturing jobs back into the country. But only 20% of those 80% who want the jobs to come back in the country actually want a manufacturing job.
Yeah.
They just want to bring them back into the country so other people can do them.
And apparently they don't realize that other people means immigrants.
No, other people means anybody who's below their social class.
All of our unemployed, all of them should be doing
unemployment is about as low as it's ever been.
Right?
No,
that's what I thought.
They're working on that.
It's starting to creep up again. I know.
They're working really hard at that. How many people did they lay off from the National Health Institute? 10,000? UPS just laid off, over 10,000 employees just recently?
Yeah, in anticipation of the tariffs are going to be less.
Yeah. Well, I thought they were going to lay them off in anticipation of all the factories that are going to be coming up so that they had employees to work in those spots. It's all like those scientists who have been trained for epidemiology and all this, crisis medical prevention. They really need to be working on textile jobs on the factory lines. That's why we're getting rid of those positions with them in office jobs and need to make them real people, real Americans, real men. Stand on that line 12 hours a day, stretching pantyhose in one spot with two 15 minutes breaks and 1/2 hour lunch.
Wait a minute. You're going to actually give them breaks?
They give them 15-minute breaks and a 30-minute lunch.
what kind of an American are you to actually give laborers real 15-minute breaks?
If I was in that position,
real men would be able to work through without even a lunch break.
Yeah, but they might break the machinery because they're not paying attention. They need to have a little bit of downloads time so they don't hurt the machinery.
Can be fixed. Lives are cheap.
No, that's what I'm saying. Machinery is expensive to fix. Who gives a crap about the lives? You know, I mean, going back to coal mining proves that. And what was it?
I can't even do it. I can't.
Sarah,
do it.
It'll be clean coal.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders' child labor laws. We should be able to let our kids be out in the fields picking at the age of 13 or 14 until 10 or 11 at night on a school night.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Does she have 13 and 14-year-olds? I have not met a 13 and 14-year-old that would do that.
Well,
I mean, I've met plenty of 13 and 14-year-olds that I want to kick out of my house until 10, like late.
Here, hold on. But see, you're not looking at the scope of what we're trying to do by making America something again. I don't even know if they say great again anymore. But what happens is those kids will have to do it because the parents won't be able to make a living and somebody's going to have to bring money into the house.
The parents will have been injured on the line and they can't work. So
well, even if they are on the line, even if they're on the line, they have to get paid a reasonable wage to keep the prices low enough on the stuff that we're used to purchasing. I mean, that is a problem for us. We have turned into a consumer society that exists on slave labor, and we have for years and years and years. There are several problems.
We were created as a
well, no. Well, yeah, but I mean, it really kicked after. It really kicked after the other countries rebuilt after World War II. I mean, the major reason the 50s were so good for everybody and the boomers hit it and everything was because we had all those manufacturing jobs in this country because all the other countries got blowed up during World War II and didn't have the industry or the machinery or anything like that. And we were innovative. But when in the early 80s, when they started after Nixon opened up China and China got into the World Trade Organization and everybody's like, oh, we can move all of our factories over there. And they packed up all the machinery and all the equipment and had it shipped over there, which is why we can't bring factories up over here really quick because we've already sent all the machinery over to another country.
Right. Yeah, that lack of infrastructure for the factories anymore, and like
we'll just have to make factories to make the machinery.
Well, technically, with Elon Musk's AI initiative and the latest, I mean, I had a serious case of existential dread because I'm trying to avoid the news, and I got sick and tired of watching Scooby-Doo episodes today, and And you want to talk about manufactured animation? There's the 70s style of animation recycle. But I started watching How Things Are Made. Don't ever watch How Things Are Made and actually think about how things are made.
Okay. Why?
Because our brains can't comprehend it. Like I said, 60 billion chickens are killed worldwide for chicken noodle soup.
That's a lot of chickens. Yeah.
Is it a lot of chickens? Can you comprehend what 60 billion is?
No.
Sounds like a lot of chickens.
Can you comprehend what 10,000 soldiers are?
I would.
How many people fit into the arena?
What arena? Like which arena?
Like the one downtown.
A couple thousand.
Okay.
Like 25,000?
25,000?
I don't think it's that much.
I don't think it's that much.
Okay, let me see real quick. What's the?
But take like something that everybody knows. Like, I don't know, the ballpark in Phoenix.
Okay. Yeah, the Diamondbacks.
Diamondback in Phoenix. I mean, that's gonna, I don't know. I'm guessing 10,000 people. Probably 5. I have
Well-
no comprehension of that. You know this.
Stadiums a lot of times will be in the tens of thousands.
Yeah. Well, like the Keno Arena down here, the Keno Veterans Memorial Stadium, where we went to the graduation for.
Yeah.
That holds 11,500 people.
Okay.
So that when you see that completely packed, every seat full, that's 11,000 people. Okay.
The Diamondback one is 48,000.
Thank you for looking that up. So
Yeah,
that's a
you're welcome.
lot of people.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So you can comprehend 11,000 people, sort of.
Right.
So like when Trump
I
was
can now
saying,
picture what that looks like.
so like when Trump said, I had 100,000 people at my rally.
Right. We know that's not true. So yeah.
Okay. So now take this into consideration, okay? So by independent investigations, Russians have confirmed 10 stadiums that size of Russian soldiers have been killed in the Ukrainian war. 10 stadiums filled completely have been killed in that war.
Okay, but according to like Trump's Oval Office chick, whatever, Pam Bondi, she said that the president himself has saved 258 million lives with all of the fentanyl seizures.
Oh, you know how they figured that out, right?
Math.
Yeah, you know how they figured it out? They took the amount of fentanyl that was supposed to be gotten across the border, and they broke it down to how much of that fentanyl would be required to kill one person. And then they divided up the amount of fentanyl that we had come into the country by the minimum amount of fentanyl required to kill somebody to determine how many lives were saved.
It still doesn't make any sense.
Hey, he saved everybody in this country except for 60,000. There were 60,000 people that would have been alive if he hadn't stopped all that stuff. That's all we would have had. Population would have been decimated. Yeah. Decimated.
Yeah.
The point of the matter is he saved lives mathematically.
Yeah.
I mean, but of course, like
no better than the quote unquote formula that they used to try to calculate tariffs that defined everything is canceling out.
There's a trade imbalance.
Done 200 deals. I don't know why you guys don't believe this.
Because there's only like 180 countries. That's why I don't believe
But he's done 200 deals. He said so himself.
I didn't say what type of deals. I mean, they've got Qatar. They have a Qatar.
He could have been
golf
buying
course.
those fentanyl. The
They're
fentanyl coming
making-
into the country. That was the deals he was doing.
There is a deal. There is a deal with Qatar for a $5.5 billion Trump golf course and resort there. That was a deal. Let's be realistic. I'm sure 200 deals like that are well in the works.
I don't doubt you.
No.
So is that how we deal with the dumpster fire? Is just marveling at the stupidity of it all?
Well, when you think that it took 60 billion chickens to make the chicken noodle soup for our 60 billion slaughtered chickens just for chicken noodle soup for the world for 1 year.
7 chickens per person.
What we're suffering,
I eat more than 7 chickens in any given year.
No, that's just for chicken noodle soup. The other ones are. But anyway,
and when you divide it out, it's 7 chickens per person per year, just in chicken noodle soup. I don't eat a lot of chicken noodle soup, but I'm sure I eat at least 7 chickens.
Oh yeah,
per year.
yeah. It's ridiculous and everything. But my point of the matter is when you look at the grand scheme of things and what we're suffering through and everything like that, you can definitely say, thank goodness we're chickens, and be happy that you're not a chicken. That's how you can deal with this stuff. You put it in perspective. I'm not a chicken.
Good job.
Are you sure? And maybe you haven't watched enough Scooby-Doo.
Some people said I was a chicken. Scooby-Doo was a chicken. I hate that show too. I don't know why I was watching it. Probably because I hate myself or something. It's so much recycled video, you know. So the point of it all is, I don't know. Every time I look around my room now that I have an understanding, having watched how things are made, and it's been for a while, but just recently hit, I'm looking around going, man, we have been trained to just suck up and buy anything that they point to us to buy. I mean, I'm looking at my book collection, I'm looking at my game collection, and like any other period in history, except for the last 50 years, and even maybe 50 years ago, I have like an extensive library that would rival most libraries in small towns across America in the 20s and 30s. I mean, you know, they talk about the robber barons back then and everything. But, you know, if you go back and you look at what we live like now, just as regular people, we're living close to what they at that level anyway. I mean,
And your point?
I feel bad.
Did you want to give up all of your stuff?
I would like to. I would like to. I feel bad. I'm looking at this stuff and I'm like, but I don't know who to give it to. Like, let's see. I was going to give up something today. I was looking at my lunch boxes. I've got lunch boxes. I was thinking, I really should give these to somebody, but nobody's going to work in a factory because we're not going to have factories, so they won't need a lunchbox. So who really needs a lunchbox? I don't get this. It's really...
They're going to end school lunches. Kids will need lunchboxes again.
No, they're just going to make them pay for it again, right? Or are they just going to end them all
getting away
outright?
With free, giving up the free school lunches.
I think you're being optimistic. I think they're going to stop doing school lunches.
Yeah, because we know out of all the studies done on education, that was the one thing that didn't impact education levels for children. No, it was the one thing that impacted. Yes, I know. I was trying to be sarcastic there.
I mean, breakfast is definitely going first, but
yeah, but that's okay because those kids can go out there and work until 11 o'clock at night picking fruits in the fields to pay for those lunches themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, Sarah, we're getting close to 10 minutes before, so let's get some positive stuff going here, because you're the one that always says, let's what are some positive ways?
Where is our hope?
Well, no. Let's just ignore the fact there is no hope. Let's come up with some positive ways of dealing with the fact that Hope was passed out with tranquilizers on the front lawn, having drank half a martini and lost one of her shoes. Okay, so if that's where Hope is, what are we going to do about it?
I mean, I'm still clinging to my remote control like mad and being like, I'm going to stream me some Scooby-Doo or something and
go watch how things are
the
made.
World.
Go watch how things are made.
I was talking to somebody and we were talking about like shows that I was streaming, and obviously because that was my video this week. And we were talking about Ancient Aliens. And then we were talking about this real cult down in Tubac. With the aliens.
I know which one that is.
Yeah, you know which one that is? So, and I was like, I use Ancient Aliens as escapism. I love the show. I think it's hilarious.
You should watch Max, HBO, the new Max, the streaming service Max, because Discovery Channel bought Max. Discovery Channel bought Time Warner and they moved all of those over there.
All of Disney.
No, but they're better over there because, well, no, they keep the really bad ones over on Max. The Disney one at least has some sort of quality level of a baseline quality level, whereas the other ones, not at all. It's just horrible.
Yeah.
Okay, but that doesn't help. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's checking out. Dr. Jess's article about hedonism sort of says that's what's destroying it all. And we don't want to be destructive. So how do you balance that? I agree.
I still have to engage in the world. I still have to be a part of this world for several hours out of the day and dealing with real people and very real problems in a very bleak environment.
Yeah, I don't have to, though.
And the whole point of the hedonism and this skeptical hedonism article wasn't about not doing the things that are coping skills. It's about also taking some control and not just giving up.
I mean, understanding that they're coping skills instead of just glossing over that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, on top of it, like if you give into that, then you're giving into saying that like the politicians are out for our best interest. If you actually believe that they are out for our best interest as a society, there's something wrong. Like you need to pay attention.
And I'm
like they may be trying to put band-aids on little things that people whine and complain about, but they're not fixing society.
And this is my chunk of this world. And I'm going to work my darndest to make this little chunk and what I can change better.
Okay.
Yep.
But
I can't do big picture. Big picture is way too messed up right now.
But
I can make this little chunk.
Okay, but we want to make this little chunk big picture because we want an island, right?
No, what we want is to get more people making their little chunk good. Because if we can get enough people making their little chunk good, then we got a bigger chunk and a bigger chunk and a bigger chunk.
Are they going to pay for being our part of our
We do that
chunk?
by being kind to one another and being nice to one another and laughing with each other and
keeping your mouth shut.
Keeping your mouth shut when you're supposed to. And if you can't do that, get the fuck out.
You can come back later when you can.
I'm gonna do product placement right now. And hope
you're gonna screw us up, Aaron. So, but
if somebody's watched all the way to the end, they can have it.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. We do not support EGs.
Well,
actually, we support EGs. EGs doesn't support us. They should support us just for that one placement. We should all get a free EG this month. I get two because Richard can't have one because they don't have EGs up with him. So I take your EG, Richard, but that's okay.
Never even heard of EGs, so yeah, you're welcome to it.
Didn't you have an EGs when you were down here visiting that time? We should next time you come down, we'll have to take you out for EGs.
Yeah, maybe it's possible.
I don't know.
Remember exactly. We didn't stay very long, so
yeah, it was sort of cold when you were here. So EGs is like a slush.
Okay,
but better.
Okay, but that's practical advice, but that's not how to do it because like doom scrolling is a thing that happens.
That's not how to do it either.
Well, how do you stop doom scrolling but still stay aware and pay attention?
Communities, you know, make sure that your neighbors are okay.
I want to
take care of yourself.
Your bubble.
I want to point out something here that almost everything I said that happened in the news this week, none of you guys had heard about.
You told me all week. So.
I've been trying to. I have been in a bubble the last few days, so I
think some people need to be out of that bubble so I can be in a bubble because it's driving me freaking crazy. I am having some.
I was in a bubble at a really nice golf resort, man.
Electrovote.com. No, that's not the.
Look, I don't know about things that don't make it to Colbert or don't make it to electrovote.com.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is that Colbert does stuff that's funny, which is helpful to me. And electrovote.com does things that are significant. And if it's neither funny nor significant, then I don't need to know about it.
Yeah, put Kimmel more on but that's not true.
Because Colbert's lost his after getting in trouble.
After CBS had their license. No, you can watch it. After he got threatened, after they threatened to take CBS's broadcasting license away, Colbert significantly toned down a little bit. Kimmel, on the other hand, is flat out, oh yeah. Kimmel is like,
well, he's basically said, go ahead and try to fire me. Like,
Yeah, I have a lot more respect for Kimmel than I ever did before, and I really do think that if you're gonna watch one, make sure it's Kimmel and Colbert. But yeah, Kimmel's been really good about that, and I didn't like Kimmel before, but he had he does some really good stuff. But but if you're not aware of all the little things that are going through, and you're only paying attention to the big things that are going through, you're not hitting this nuanced stuff like that executive order about the military. And
what can you do?
But I did know about that.
How did you know about that?
I told you about that.
Yeah, how did you know about that?
I don't remember where I came across it.
Oh,
honestly.
but you said you only have two sources. So
But
which two sources?
Going to Jessica's point, what can we do about that?
Be aware. We can be aware.
You can show up at protests. The May Day protests went over amazingly
No.
all across the country.
Well, yeah.
Protests. You can contact your representatives.
The
But
turbo, the Acu, whatever. Now I can't remember the name of it. Have to look it up. But the one that auto sends for you, that's back up and running.
you can also be aware of all this stuff so that you know when to get your.
Resist bot.
You can be aware so that you can make sure that you have your visas in line when you know that it's going to be more problematic to get your passport and visa. What day was that, Jessica? That it appears that they're going to be more problematic to get those because of the staffing, because of the numbers of layoffs and everything, that it's going to be seriously. It's like Social Security. Yeah, they didn't get rid of Social Security, but they closed down enough offices that all these people in rural countries have to make appointments to offices that are hundreds of miles away from their town to have their Social Security, because they can't do it on the phone now, and they can't do it online now because they got rid of those. So if you're thinking,
in a big city, you're fine, but if you're in a rural county, you're
well,
screwed.
not even if you're in a big city, because the amount of staff has been reduced on top of it.
Mhm.
So they're doing these things that are going to make. I mean, I didn't hear anything on Kimmel or Steven about them getting rid of kids' school lunches.
I just made that up.
But they are trying to do that. That's
They're
the
trying to
thing.
get rid of the funding, yeah.
Well, because they were decreasing the DEI funding, and a lot of the DEI funding is Title 5,
15,
Title 9,
15.
Title something.
I thought it was 15.
That one goes towards
I think
feeding
it's
kids
15.
at school.
Well, and most of the food that fed the kids at school was from USAID. And so now that they're not giving the food to the school for the kids, the farmers that were selling it to USAID can't sell the food. So now it's just sitting there waiting for somebody else to buy it. These people,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not just, and this goes back to my comment about how things are made and scope and scalability of this stuff. I mean, I was looking at that and I was talking to Alice W. and it's like, people can't comprehend 16 billion pantyhose being made a year for worldwide consumption, 33% of which is done, which 33% of which is American consumption of pantyhose.
Do we really consume that many pantyhose anymore?
Yes.
I don't know anybody that still wears those stupid.
I know, but they sell. They sell. I've got the numbers. It's, and that's what I'm saying. Being aware of this stuff is scary. But if you're not aware of it, it can get it can blindside you.
You have to find a balance.
Okay.
That's what Sara and I are saying. There's a balance between taking care of yourself and taking care of your community.
And
So-
you can't be so focused on making sure that you're aware. If you are doing nothing but consuming that, then
Hey,
It's the first
I'm
thing you see
consuming-
when you wake up,
I'm
and the last thing you see when you go to bed. Somebody.
shut up.
That's not
I'm
good.
consuming now. I'm
Yes.
consuming how it's made, and I looked this up. Okay, so the global pantyhose market is valued around $22 billion as of 2023, and the U.S. being a
Did
38.1%
we just
of
rename
that
the
global
show
market share.
Watching Michael's Existential Crisis?
Here's another thing you can do. Pick a topic that you focus on. So my business and profession for the last decade and a half has been homelessness. And so I focus on homelessness.
Well, you're not going to have to worry about that soon. They're not going to be homeless. They have all these camps.
Those people are still
No.
homeless.
Richard, yeah.
Concentration camps are still homeless. The thing of it is that we are a number of people, and we can each pay attention to a small fraction of, so that we don't have to try to keep track of everything.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Join us next week to watch Michael have another existential crisis about something completely different.
As we try to give him advice and tell him to stop scrolling.
I don't scroll. I click. And then I
Stop
pick. I
clicking.
pick. I'm not just scrolling multiple reels. I'm curating my information I'm getting.
Yeah.
It is curated. It's amazing how if you listen to the Ukrainian propaganda and the Russian propaganda, it's like amazingly different in both of those countries. Same thing with the China and the US propaganda and everything. It's like
We need
watching
to do
two
our,
different
we need
worlds.
to do our, you got to hit like, subscribe.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Patreon.
If you've actually watched this at all, hey, we had 9 people come in and view it. I've watched people like, oh, they're talking about that, I'm going to leave. But, you know, we've managed to get up to a few. So, yeah,
and support Eva's,
yeah, just
Airbnb
her little
in
B&B in Alaska.
Anchorage or wherever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So Eva's gonna have an Airbnb in Anchorage, Alaska. She'll pay us to do advertisements for her, so we'll be her.
Maybe she'll let
she'll
us
be
have
our-
a free night.
That's good enough. That would work fine. I'd be for that. Even though she won't be showing that Ghostbusters. Anyway, like and subscribe and everything, and join us next week for our. I don't know. We call it the good word because it's good God. I tell
Going
you.
downhill really quick.
Well, good God. That's what we should call it.
It's
Good
still our
God.
time to come together as community and gather and laugh into the void.
Next week, we'll have margaritas out by the pool.
You keep
Maybe.
telling me this.
Hey, you come over and help me clean up the yard. We'll have them all week long.
Does it have to
Bye,
be clean before
everyone.
tomorrow?
No, if you want to come.
Oh, bye.
Bye. We'll talk to
everyone.
you.
Bye to our subscribers.
Join. Have fun. Bye.